Okay, I want to see if this even works. Is this going to the right place? This isn't just going to Twitch, is it? No. No, it couldn't be. Because then... I don't know if I'm live right now. But if I am... Oh, wait. I think I know. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm live at the moment. I hope I am. I can't tell. Oh, there we go. Oh, hey, Lloyd. Of course, you're the first person to tune in. So, by the thumbnail and the title, you probably assume that I'm talking about the Rick and Morty voice changes. Lloyd and I talked about this in private before on Discord. Sorry to mint my mouth. Um, but yeah, I'm not gonna weigh too much in on the um, accusations that have been made against Justin Roiland, the creator of Rick and Morty, or co-creator, and also the voices of Rick and Morty, which is the whole um reason that he was fired and why they had to find someone to replace him. I'm not gonna give much. I'm not gonna give really any of my opinion on that, except for I think they jumped the gun a little bit when, firing him, or at least they were very hasty to do it. I know they had other reasons than the accusations, but still, I think it was. I mean, I don't know. He's such a core part of the show that I think they were a little too quick on that. Anyways, so yeah, season 7 trailer just dropped. It's not out yet. None of the actual episodes are out yet, but we get to hear a little bit of Rick and Morty's new voices in this trailer. And they're actually not bad. Like, the actual sound of the voices is pretty spot on. Whoever they found to, replace Justin Roiland, they did a pretty good job. I don't know who the new guy is, but yeah, it's nice. It's not bad. It sounds almost identical. But yeah, I'm glad they didn't do what they did in Solar Opposites, where it was, I don't know, it was a canon reason, like an in-universe reason, but it still felt kind of cheap and lazy. Like, it was just this really quick thing. I don't know. It was like something they wrote in at the last second, which, because it probably was. But yeah, I'm glad they went with an actual impersonator this time rather than someone who sounds completely different. Although I will say, like, this is from like, I'm an impressionist myself, and the impression is pretty darn good. But it sounds fine, but something about it feels off. And it's really hard to put your finger on what it is, just something doesn't feel quite right with either of the characters. And I know that's really useless in terms of, advice, or, trying to contribute and help the show and make things better. But it's a really tricky thing to, like, put your finger on. Like, I can't identify really anything that sounds I can't identify anything that sounds wrong. It just doesn't feel right. And I've watched enough I'm not a huge Rick and Morty fan. I never have been. It's just not my thing. But I have watched a lot of clips on YouTube to where I feel comfortable saying, whether yeah, how it compares to the old voices. Yeah, this isn't going to be a very long stream. That's really that's nearly all I wanted to say. Well, I'll end it with a quote. It's from one of the best impersonators in, I think, in all of, the voice acting world, Billy West. And he was on Futurama. He was the voice of Fry, Farnsworth, Zoidberg, Zach Brannigan, and a few other characters that I can't think of off the top of my head. Or loads of other characters, actually. But he said, because he was Bugs Bunny in Space Jam, which he was doing an impression of Mel Blanc. But he said, there's something so soulless about a carbon copy imitation. If you don't put something of yourself into it, it feels as if it feels like it has no life. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but in essence, that's what he said. And I think that rings very true to what's happening here. Nothing sounds exactly wrong, it just doesn't feel the same. Or it feels off a little bit. It's kind of an uncanny valley sort of thing. And, you know, regardless of your views on Space Jam, yeah, it was for kids. It wasn't, watching it as an adult, it's not that great. But you got to give the actors props and the directors props, because I think, back then I felt like they didn't include enough of the Looney Tunes-esque humor. Like, the style didn't really feel like Looney Tunes. They kind of went in a different direction with it. But I can see why now. Because if they just tried to do the exact same, it would probably end up like what we have with Rick and Morty. Which is unfortunate. You'd have to be incredibly talented to perfectly nail these characters. And that's because these characters were kind of embedded. Hi. Hey guys. These characters were kind of embedded within. Whenever you create a character, that character is, something within you. Like, these characters, of course, because you created them. You know them fully. You know what they will say and do and how they will react to certain situations. And you know how they sound. You know everything. But when you get someone different, all they can do is guess based on what they've seen before of how these characters act. They don't intrinsically or in their soul know what these characters are like. And I have that. That's kind of what it boils down to here, is that there's just, it's kind of a similar thing with Princess Leia. um I can't remember which Star Wars it is, but they had to digitally recreate her, and the face was off, but also the personality wasn't there. That's a good way of saying it. The personality of the character wasn't there, and that's because that's something embedded within the people that create the characters. And that's why doing impressions or recreations or parodies or whatever of existing characters will always be more difficult than creating your own. Because when you create your own, you have nothing to compare it against. And because of that, no one will know if it's off. That's a really obvious way to end this, but what actually, how long is this been going for? Okay, it's just 10 minutes. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on the Rick and Morty voice thing. I'll sum it up. I'll give you the TLDR. Too long didn't read. The actual impressions sound really good. The only issue is that they don't feel right. And that's just because the characters are being played by the person, a person who did not create them.